Call today.
Today's the last day to enter to win $7 grand a week for life from Publishers Clearinghouse. October 31st, it could be you, but time is running out. You got to enter at PCH.com. $7 grand a week for life. Enter now at PCH.com.
New this morning, an eerie message from Vladimir Putin as Russia persists with its invasion of Ukraine. In an unusually long public appearance for the Russian leader, Putin said, quote, "The historical period of the West's undivided dominance over world affairs is coming to an end," end quote. Meanwhile, analysts say Putin is not making as much ground in Ukraine as he had hoped. In their next move, Russian troops are zeroing in on the eastern city of Bakhmut, which they say they have been trying to seize for months. Ukraine's president also says that Russia has dropped more than 30 drone attacks on the country in 2 days. And the U.S. is not standing idle. The Pentagon just announcing the plan to send another $275 million in aid package, including weapons, to Ukraine to help the Ukrainian forces. I want to welcome in now Paul Rykov on the latest in Ukraine and Russia's push forward. He is the host of the Independent Americans podcast and also a U.S. Army veteran. Paul, always great to have you on. Thank you. We don't know what Putin is thinking, but we are hearing what he's saying, and that's basically all we have to go on at this point. What do you take from his comments about the West?
You know, I think the biggest takeaway, Marnie, is that Putin's playing a long game. He's not thinking just about the next few months. He's thinking about the next few years. And he's always been playing a long game. His goal has always been to drag this out, to try to drain the West, try to take away our will, try to fragment our alliances, and to closely watch our politics. He's seeing that there are political forces on the left and on the right in the U.S. that are saying, hey, if we win in the fall in Congress, we may reevaluate support for Russia. He knows that if Trump rises and he battles battles Biden, he may withdraw some of his support that we've seen in the past. So Putin is counting on the U.S. to get tired. He's counting on us to get fragmented. And it's also the muddy season in Ukraine right now. Things are going to slow. Vehicles can't move, people can't move, and we're coming up on the winter. So I think he's bracing for what could be more of a quagmire type situation than we've seen in the last few months. The lines start to solidify a little bit more, and he's playing to his internal audience. He's trying to keep continuity inside the Russian public, and he's playing to allies. He's playing to Iran. He's playing to China. He's playing to others that he hopes will join him in this fight that he expects to drag on for years or even decades.
Right. And he's trying to wear down the Ukrainian people, especially ahead of the winter months. And they are, despite their resilience, very concerned. I spoke with a member from Ukraine's parliament yesterday, Kira Rudik, and she was frustrated with the situation. And she is asking, specifically begging for more weapons from the U.S. and our allies when it comes to air defense. I want to play a portion of my conversation with her for you.
This is what is happening to all Ukrainians right now: inability to prepare food, inability to predict what's going to happen when the cold would hit. And for that, specifically for that, we were asking for the Air Force protection systems to protect our infrastructure. Right now, there is not much that we can do to quickly rebuild it. And this is why the winter is going to be very complicated for us.
And she is scared, Paul. We now know that the United States, the Pentagon is saying we will be sending $275 million of weapons and aid. Is that enough?
No, not even close. I think there's an argument that's been made that I agree with, that we've been giving the Ukrainians enough to hold off the Russians, but not enough to win. And the Ukrainians have been asking for us to close their skies since this started. They've been asking for a no-fly zone. They've been asking for more missile support. They've been asking for a way to stop the drones and missiles and bombs from landing on their children and landing on their playgrounds. This is not a reality TV show for them. It's their devastating reality. Every day they wake up to threats from the sky. So the U.S. can do more. We can be training F-16 pilots. We can be sending Patriot missile batteries. We can be leaning on our NATO allies, and we can continue to send financial support. And I think Ukrainians are also concerned about the fact that they're seeing a fraying of the American political spirit. You know, Kevin McCarthy says we're going to reevaluate our support for Ukraine because inflation is high. You know, they're concerned that we might lose our will. And I think the American people across partisan lines have understood this is a fight for freedom. This is a fight against a despot, and it's a fight the Ukrainians have to win. But we also have to understand they're living in the dark right now. Putin's shutting out the lights. He's hitting energy plants, and he wants to break their will. He wants to break their spirit, and he wants to wear them down. And we have to continue to be inspired by the Ukrainian people and give them what they need. They are in this fight. They are on the front lines, and their friends and family are dying every day. And we've got to remember that human side of this that can get lost in the midst of all the headlines.
But what about the larger implications of closing the airspace? I mean, then you're talking about NATO getting involved, and there are some bigger issues at hand when you take that next step.
Yeah, I mean, there are always bigger issues at hand. There's no easy solution here, but we can't just let Putin destroy an entire civilization. And there are things we can do, like training F-16 pilots. We could have been training F-16 pilots from Ukraine months ago, and they would be ready to go about a month from now. I talked to Congressman Adam Kinzinger on my show this week, and we talk about the military options that could be on the table, that could be enhanced. I think that there's overall, I think, still a concern the White House is too worried about optics and not worried enough about human lives. And I think that's where it all becomes real. What would we want? What would we do if we were living in Ukraine right now? We wouldn't want anyone to hold back. We want them to stop the killing. And I think the winter is a very real, grim threat that is uncontrollable. It's coming. And we got to try to get Ukrainians as much support, heat, light, and weapons as we can to help them get through the winter and try to keep the momentum that they've gained in the last few months.
Right. They wake up every day not knowing if they'll live to see another. You talked to Representative Kinzinger about more than just weaponry. You said the road to peace goes over Putin's dead body. One thing to think it, and I think a lot of people are probably thinking it, quite another to say it.
Yeah, I'm saying it because it's true. I mean, we can't sit down at a negotiating table with Vladimir Putin like some of the Progressive Caucus members proposed in a letter last week. I mean, Putin is going to continue this until he's gone. This is like World War II. This is like existential threats we faced in the past. And I think Ukrainians understand that. This is not going to stop until Putin stops. And that can only happen in a couple of ways. If he's dead, if he's in jail, if he's in exile, he's made it clear that he won't stop, and he does not care about the cost of human life on the Ukrainian side or on the Russian side. So, you know, Putin could go down from within as well. We're seeing an increased level of protests inside Russia and now in Iran and other places. So there's a lot of ways this can go down, but I think we've got to understand that Putin is at the epicenter of this. And how would we feel if we were living in Ukraine? How would you feel if this man was dropping bombs on your kids and killing your neighbors every single day? We've got to speak about it openly because the threat is that real.
Yeah, it's hard to see a way out. Paul, always great to have you on, and thank you, as always, for your service. Good luck to your Giants this weekend. On a lighter note, they're playing my Seahawks. My best, my friend.
Well, I think you guys are going to need it because we're on a roll. So we're ready to go.
We shall see. We'll have you back, and we'll talk about our big win. Thanks,
Marty.
Paul. All right, stay right there. More News Nation when we come back.
Let me give you something to talk about.
America's watching.
You'll love this, Cuomo. You will love this.
News Nation, now more than ever.
We have to get over this hatred of the other side.
If you're an independent watching this at home, you literally do outnumber the two major parties.
There's another side to every story, though, isn't there?
Cuomo, weeknights, twice a night.
The reporting you're doing is exactly what most people in this country have been looking for.
See why America's talking about, even this guy's talking about, News Nation. News for all America.
Mucinex Night Shift fights your worst nighttime symptoms, so you can get to sleep and wake up ready to go.
How could you?
So rise above the misery. Wake up to a new you.
How dare you?
Today you're back and ready to go.
This will not stand. Oh.